To begin our investigation, we asked Chapman students where they get their news.
I get my news primarily through Instagram.
Mostly on Instagram or sometimes through the newsletter that Jerry Price sends.
I love the Kumquat. I think it really provides a very trustable news source.
For news-wise, I don't really use any campus resources to read news. I guess Fizz.
Looking at posters around campus and then following social media, a bunch of the different pages for clubs, groups, and organizations, such like that. I do not read the Panther.
I started in August 2022 as a video and podcast editor.
I am a videographer and also a podcast editor. I make podcasts with my co-host Anastasia.
I do know what the kumquat is.
Kumquat? Honestly, no. What, kumquat? Why does it even sound like that?
It's an amazing and hilarious satirical news source.
Frankly, I didn't know there was another, a newspaper for Chapman. I thought the Panther newspaper was the only newspaper here.
It's more entertaining and funny, but if we're writing about the latest presidential debate, we're not gonna make it really humorous, So I feel like it's just different styles of writing.
Wow. Okay, I can see clearly what they're going for. This is funny. I would have laughed out loud again when I'm taking a shit.
Kumquat is iconic. It's a staple in Chapman dorm culture.
I don't think the Panther newspaper will take a jab at writing any satirical news.
I feel like the school would not approve of that collaboration. However, I do think that would be quite iconic.
I have heard about the Kumquat. I think it is super funny whenever I see them posted around campus. I cherish those days when you walk through the campus and there's just orange flyers littering everywhere.
I read the Kumquat. I wouldn't consider it news, but I do read it.
And then it's got a anonymity to it.
I don't know a ton about it, but I know it's silly.
I just think it's annoying that they put their posters on my door.
They like to poke fun at everything, and it's kind of just a fun thing to have on campus.
The Kumquat agreed to do an interview, but only in a way that would keep their staff completely anonymous.
I think I would describe the Kumquat as something like a satire magazine, kind of about things on campus. I joined my freshman year, first semester, really quickly. It's a 1 month process. I kind of connected with a lot of people in there, and they really became my friend group. The biggest thing is not telling other people's sort of identities. Your identity, if you want to say it, it's up to you, but it's really important to keep everyone else anonymous. I've gotten really drunk and just blurted it out, whoops. For me, a lot of my stories are real, but they just kind of have been super blown out of proportion and in crazy ways. But the message of the story is real. It's definitely reliable, I would say. You should make your opinions on Chapman based on the Kumquat, because it's the meanest things ever. We usually print around 1,000 issues. We really like to hit the freshman dorms and put them under their doors, or stick them on their doors, or stick them around the laundry rooms. I don't think the Kumquat would have fit in the Panther if we had a satire issue. The Panther definitely does not think that we're reliable, or we're even a news source, which is fine, but I think we're more of a news source than they are. It's not that they're not doing good work. They're definitely hardworking journalists, but they don't have the same following as we do or anything, and we've only been around for a couple of years. We're definitely better. I remember there was this girl who made a whole dress out of a bunch of kumquats. I think it's so sweet whenever we we'll knock on people's doors and they'll open it and they'll be oh my God, we have this whole shrine for you. And I'm okay, I'm so happy that people love it that much, because that's really what it's for. When people come out and they're oh my God, we love you and all this stuff, I'm that's so nice, because we do put in a lot of effort and we want to make it good and we want people to enjoy it.
But we soon found out the Kumquat wasn't the only satirical newspaper at Chapman.
I don't know much about the Panther Buck. I've just heard of it through conversation.
I think I've seen their Instagram account, but I don't follow it or anything.
Panther buck, I have not heard of the panther buck, unfortunately.
I just see their Instagram posts, and I think that they have really funny Instagram posts.
Our actual slogan is Chapman's worst news source. I did a lot of satire news in high school, obviously not under the Panther Buck, but when I found out there was a satire news pseudo club at Chapman, I was very interested. I figured despite whether I make the cut or not, I was going to continue making satire news because that's something I just like to do.
We focus more on digital stuff. We do headlines with funny graphics. I know the Kumquat recently started doing that after we started doing it, which is to be noted maybe. We've poked fun at them a little bit just because we have less followers and it's sort of punching up.
Do we have beef with the Kumquat? Kumquat, if you have beef with us, make it public, make it known. Because that'll probably get us some followers.
I've certainly heard of the Kumquat. It's dicey. I'm in favor of it. In other words, I like satire, I like comedy. A lot of my peers are offended or concerned about what shows up in those things. I am not, because I'm just a believer that, for example, Chris Rock says a lot of horrible things, but it's typically in the context of some kind of social commentary. And so I'm okay with that type of thing, that someone would say something that's rather off color in the Kumquat, but it's making a point, that's okay.
Well, there you have it. The Panther, the Kumquat, and the Panther Buck. 3 news sources of varying reliability.